welcome chaps. This is a job that I'm doing. I want to achieve it very quickly before I have to start my shift. So I'm working on the fisherman's rib cardigan, and I'm so nearly there. So what I'm doing at the moment is working the two bands that go up the front. So I've had to, basically the welts at the bottom here, these 8 stitches I put onto a safety pin, and then I've basically picked them up and I'm now working in this yarn that I've got left. I ran out of the brown sadly, so the cardigan's not going to end up exactly as I wished it to do, but you know, we're working with it. So time is precious at the moment, so I'm just literally working with what I've got in the house. So I'm desperately trying not to have to break into another one of these balls. I've got 3 left, but I like the aesthetic of keeping them neat in the bands. So one technique of doing that is that this is the end that's on the external of the ball, and then you can basically go in and pull out the end from the inside. So you can, if you've only got say one ball of yarn but you need to do 2 separate little bits, this is a great way of doing that instead of having to sort of guesstimate how much you need, cut it off and then carry on working with the yarn. What I would say though is in the mills the yarn is wound in a particular manner, as I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but yarn sort of, it winds one way, and that's the preferred way that the mills would like you to work the yarn, so that when you work from the other end, it's not going to be wound that way, which could affect your work if you're not that particularly about it, which I'm not at this point. I want this cardigan finished and I want it on my back. You know, I've really enjoyed making this, but yeah, I just want it done now and I just want to be wearing it and for it to be keeping me warm. So that's what I'm working with. Now in regards to where you put your buttonholes, I have just counted how many buttons she has on her cardigan, and then I've just sort of taken that amount and placed them along, because it looks handmade at this point, you know, so you know, we carry on with that. You could also take the measurements of from here to the top of your band that's going to have the buttons on, and decide how many buttons you're going to have, and then divide that between an actual measurement, whether you work in inches or centimetres or whatever. You could also, as you work this band, take a mental note of just how many rows you've done, and again you could divide the rows between how many buttons you would like to put on, and that's another way of doing it, so that they are absolutely the same distance apart, and it'll give you a much neater finish. Like I said, we're going for the rustic feel here. I think because this fisherman's rib cardigan has eaten so much yarn, and I've had to do the different colour and all the rest of it, it's going to be, I'm going to cherish it around the house. It's going to be absolutely wonderful to wear, but not necessarily my best cardigan. So I really enjoyed making this, and I think I will make another version slightly later on at some point, but for now I just want to get this finished. But let me bring you up. I think that's all I need to say on that front. Hello everyone. I just got straight into it because I literally want to get this done before I start my shift. So yeah, hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I've seen that we've had a spurt recently on the subscriptions, which is fantastic. I don't know how, I don't know why, but thank you all for coming and joining us here at the old ration book. I lately have not been able to stop myself just buying all these things. Forgive the aesthetics of the video. This is just a off the cuff sort of jobby. So yes, it's patterns mainly that I just can't stop myself, but also a few needles. The universe seems to be sending needles my way at the moment. Like my neighbour came round with a whole pack, and friends and family, they just keep, I've got spare needles. Rebecca, have them, and I'm just like. So again, I've knit this cardigan on the wrong size needles, so I wasn't convinced that it was actually going to turn out into something that was going to be fairly usable anyway. I did think I may have had to frog it, but I think we're going to avoid that. Hallelujah. So I think it will be wearable. But I think now, because of the amount of needles that have come into my life, yeah, I've got the right needles for me to do it again. But really, check your tension, before you start a big project like this. Lesson learned, Rebecca. Lesson learned. But the reason why I say needles, and I bring that up first, is because, here we are. So I went charity shopping the other day, and I found myself a couple of these vintage. You see these around a lot. I mean, not a lot, but you can drop lucky and find them. So these were £1 each for this. And then also in the same charity shop, they had a selection, but I only took a couple because you have to leave some for other people. These are metal circular knitting needles. Now, they're not fabulous to work with. Your yarn keeps getting stuck because, I don't know if you can see, the metal is twisted, but it still grabs, But they were invented in the 30s. 30s and 40s are metal circular knitting needles. And they didn't necessarily always use them for actually knitting in the round. I don't think there was an awful lot of stuff knit in the round back in the day. But it was more for your big shawls and all that sort of stuff, That's what they were used for. And then in the 50s, sort of the plastic versions were invented. They came in, which were a lot easier to work with. They didn't snag your fabric. So they basically, this is why if you see metal circular needles, the chances are they are 30s, 40s, And I think these, because I've been knitting for so long, I can kind of tell what the needle sizes are. And I reckon this is a 5 and this is possibly a 4, So I'm not actually checked against my gauge. If you do want to check against your gauge what size things are, then one of these is great. Stick it in your handbag. If you think you might be ended up going somewhere, you're like, oh, charity shopping or whatever, you know exactly what you're after. If you've got a list of the knitting needle sizes you need, put one of these. This is a great investment, having this, because I think I paid $1.25, and it's that thing of, if you go to certain charity shops, you can find needles for 10, 20p each, or a pair or something, instead of paying £2 or £3 in the shops for a brand new pair. Just take one of these. It pays for itself. Absolutely. Big tip there. Now, in regards to the patterns, I love it. I love it. Right, so in no particular order, but I've found a Woolcraft, which is 1961, and it's got loads of, it's the usual sort of state of play. 1961 that was 1 and 6. This is a newspaper cutout for a vest, and it is, I believe, here we are, it's on the back, it says, "Hello readers, Happy New Year to you." And I think it's 1959. So if you want a thermal to keep you warm, 1950s style, there you go. I'm really tempted to try and make that, but I've got some older ones as well. So we're moving on to the 70s. So I really like that. But it's very similar to the Victory vest that's online. There's a lovely lady, she's made one similar colour, similar sort of cabling, And I think it's in Canada. It's a Canadian pattern or something. And yeah, she's made it and she looks absolutely fabulous in it. She really does. This one I cannot get out of my mind. I have got to make this. It's so me. I think about it almost every day. The men's collection got a decent bit of Fair Isle in, and yeah, you know, good cardies for blokes. Then we've got this Fashion Knits. Now, normally with 60s, I don't know exactly what this is, but I'm going to reckon it's probably late 60s. If anyone knows or can find out, that'd be great. I've tried to googly woogly and I can't find any answers. But yeah, there's some really, well, apart from that one, that's dire. But there's some really nice patterns in here. I'm absolutely loving this cape. You know, probably for next winter by now, because I've got my cardigan to wear. But yeah, looking fab. I mean, look at that herringbone cardi. Hello. Yes, another 60s in coats. Now, this brand you don't see very often, and it's a high quality brand is what I've been told, led to believe. And unlike all of the magazines I've got, this one actually comes up, opens up that way. So, you know, really that's unusual. So there's some really good patterns in there as well. There's definitely one or two items. The amount of knitting that I've got, oh, my wardrobe's going to be fabulous by the end of the year. It really is. Then I found this. Now, I don't know whether this is 40s, 50s, 30s. No, I reckon it's probably going to be 50s. But it's got the red lipstick. It's got the hair. It's got the 40s sort of shoulder caps. So again, I haven't been able to find out a date for this on the old Googly Woogly. But my favourite pattern is this cardi here. Chances are it won't fit, but it would be nice to make it and send it into the you know, get someone wearing something fabulous. Again, that cardi there, I think that's for saying it's supposed to be for a teenager, because teenagers didn't exist on the island. The term teenager didn't exist until the 50s. That came over with, you know, the Marilyn Monroe, the forget, he's not James Dean, is it Marlon Brando? Anyway, yeah, the Americans invented the word teenager. Women, you know, if you were 15, you were a young lady in the British Isles. You're a young man, you know. And then we have got, I love these. So Dorothy, 1948 hints. And there's some really good hints and tips in there. So you've got a lovely jacket. Can't you tell they've got the proper underwear in order to keep everything where it needs to be, to give you the silhouette. And my favourite is, I mean, that's quite cute. How cute is that? But my favourite has got to be this cardigan. I mean, look how fabulous that is. Very, very nice. Again, if you'd like any of these patterns or anything, I don't know about copyright and if I'm going to get into trouble or whatever, but I will happily put some pictures upon the community feed, and then if I get told to take them down, I'll take them down. But yes, if there's anything that you would like me to have a look through the stash to find anything specific, then please do leave a comment. The last two that I'd like to talk about are I found Viella knitting book. This one's a number 4. I did find a date for this. It is 1934. 5 years before the war, you know? Amazing. And again, 30s, it's illustrated as opposed to photos. You do get the odd photos. I'll find you one photo which is incredible. I mean, these bonnets are absolutely gorgeous, but I can't crochet, so I'm going to have to learn that skill this year. But and then you get the illustrations, just that. But there's one that's really 1930s. It makes me think actually of the Christmas special Downton Abbey, I think season 3, where you've got Barrow just in his top. Oh, it might be in the other one. No, it's in the other one. Anyway, that's number 4 knitting book for Viella. And what it is from all of these publications, if you can see, I'm sorry it's a terrible quality, but you know, it's what we're working with for now. You've got The Lady, you've got The Modern Woman, Needlework for All, you've got Weldon's Practical Needlework, Lady's Companion, Leeches, all that sort of stuff. They've all contributed, and it's basically a book so that if you buy the Viella yarn, you know you've got all these patterns to work with, which I think is a really good idea for helping you sell your yarn, you know, or at least I think that's what it is. You know, I'm not an expert, but I'm picking up what I feel people are putting down. Yeah, this one, over 70 patterns, and it's number 5, so it's the next one along, so it's still 1934, possibly 1935. But it's got patterns for ladies, girls, boys, men, that sort of stuff, but we've got a jumper there, here we are, the 1930s. This is just what reminds me of Thomas Barrow because of the top with the buttons and everything. It's what he was wearing. Yeah. And there's one that's just absolutely fabulous. You think, if I had a man in my life, oh baby. Swimming cosy. But there is a ladies swimming cosy, I do believe. What we've got for the golfer, we've got boys pullover. Here we are, the bathing suit. Whether they actually wore this, it'd be down to your ankles if you went into the sea, wouldn't it? It would just drop. But yeah, you think, wow. But the vest and knickers, we can do ladies' vest and knickers. I'm definitely, absolutely wanting 100% to wear some handmade old lady knickers. I really am. I'm so tempted. I went into a bookshop the other day and they had the 1939 Modern Knitting Illustrated, and those patterns are absolutely gorgeous. And then I saw the price in the book, which was basically $68.95, and I thought, I can't, Rebecca, no. £1 on each of these knitting books is one thing. 70 quid on just one book. No, Rebecca, no, don't do it. I know it's worth it because I've been on Google and I've seen that is sort of the price, maybe a little bit more, but sort of the price, but no. But isn't that cute? Little coat, cap and leggings. But anyway, yes, so, yes, I'll wrap it up now because I'm desperately worried I'm going to be late for work. But thank you for joining me. Yes, if there are any patterns, if there's anything that you are absolutely looking for, maybe you'd like to knit this year, or anything I can help you with, then please do let me know and I will do my best. But other than that, Happy New Year, lovely to see you all, and I'll check in with you again soon. Bye.